Hey folks, welcome back to KEI Fabrication. This week we're back up at Harmony Acres Farms where we did the startup of the Ford Fiesta. We have another special startup for you. Check it out, you're going to enjoy it. We'll see what happens. Hey, I'm getting a little flash.
All right.
That should go from there to there. Let's see what happens. So I just threw the jump box on it on the battery. Ooh, I think I heard a fuel pump. Let's see. Alright, so I have to apologize for the camera shaking because I don't think the device in the camera could compensate for my hand shaking because it's probably 24, 25 degrees in the shop right now, and you probably could have seen our breath when we were talking previously. So I'm going to turn the camera off and we'll get things ready to go, and we're going to turn the heat on, which is the salamander heater here, the blaster, and then we'll go from there. Steve, I thought it was worth mentioning is the reason why we're doing this today is because Derek decided we weren't worthy of him having to come out here and do this with us or for us, right?
I know. I was just saying to Donna the other day, my wife, I wonder whatever happened in the gym with Derek. I like to see.
Alright, so the first dilemma that we're running into right now is the spark plugs. As hard as we yank on the wrench, that first one, actually it's cylinder number 2, is not budging. So that's, I really want to get some sort of lubrication into the cylinders in case there's condensation in there. The throttle linkage works on the carburetor. It looks like it's got electronic ignition in it. It's got a Mallory distributor. We're going to double check that real quick. And we'll update you as time goes on. Can't have the heat off for too long because there's no insulation in the barn and it gets cold real fast. So first things I learned in automotives class back in 1980 was when you take the plugs out, break them loose, take them out 3 or 4 turns, blow around with an air hose before you take them all the way out, and that way the debris doesn't fall into the cylinder. At least that's the theory. So there's the plug. It actually looks pretty clean. You can see the PV blaster we sprayed on it just to get it free, but this is a problem, and this is what happens when you have to really put pressure on the spark plug socket, and it kind of goes at an angle and it snaps the porcelain. So we may have to run to the parts store and get some plugs.
Oh, dude, great.
So getting the last of the plugs out, they were all giving us a battle. We got a couple more cylinders to squirt oil in, and then I think it'll be time to try and turn the motor over with a wrench. And that'll be the insurance policy to make sure if it's not all crunchy and crumbly.
Oh, I hope not. It's amazing how much condensation a garage gets in it. I've come in here after a rainstorm and wiped my hand down the side of this car, and it's absolutely soaking wet as if it had been out in the rain itself.
And that's kind of what my apprehension is of this project, really. It's not so much that the engine isn't healthy as it may have suffered a little bit from that condensation dilemma. Man, that's all because that clearance between the socket and the cylinder is so tight.
Looks like he had an electric fuel pump hooked up.
Yep.
I don't see where he ran it off like a boat tank or anything. It looks like he fed it straight out of the gas tank though.
Yeah, I think
have no
for
idea what's in that thing.
if the engine's good and free, and that one's a little the blackest of them all. It could be just it's the coldest cylinder or something. I don't know. But nothing scary.
Yeah. Well, they do look brand new though, as far as.
Yeah. So a couple squirts in the cylinders. And this has an oil pressure gauge under the dash, or?
It does.
All right, I don't know. I wonder
Whether or
if
not it's hooked up.
I wonder if it's electrical or mechanical. Because if we're okay with this, what we're about to do now, and as far as turning it over, where is the oil pressure setting unit? I think it's over here. Okay, so it is a mechanical gauge. There is a line running back there.
Okay.
So if we turn this over with the starter, we could end up being able to prime the engine. All right, what do you think? Should we go for cranking it? As far as turning it over with a bar?
Sure. I guess that's the first.
So there's the ratchet. You want to do the ironers, or? That way, you know, if you're going to do any damage, it'll be your fault, not mine.
There you go.
Ooh, that's a good sign. Did it seem like it had to break free, or?
No, I don't think so. I was just gaining the confidence to do it and not break my knuckles. Because I know that's the real reason you gave me the honor.
Turn it around till you see that 2 more times. I know it's going to take a while, but if we go 2 full turns, that means all the valves would have opened and closed.
It might be getting easier.
I'm getting compression in the one in the back. Yeah, I just put my finger in the hole just to see. Now it's pulling it in, so those valves aren't stuck. Otherwise it wouldn't be making air, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was hoping there'd be a date or something on the oil filter when we go to do that, see maybe.
Do you mind going around again?
No, I don't mind.
I am getting, on the second cylinder back on this side, I'm getting compression. So that valve's good. Not much happening on the third cylinder back. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Now what would that indicate?
Probably a valve stuck open or something. But,
Okay.
so let's see, where are you?
Okay, I'm back up at the top, well, not at the top, but back at my mark on my belt again.
That's all I'm doing is trying to feel to see if there's any pressure coming out of the cylinder. That would indicate that it's actually making. Oop, the first cylinder is doing something. That was enough to bind up
Wow.
the progress thing. Second cylinder's doing something. Third cylinder's doing something.
And we're at the mark again.
And the fourth one. Alright.
Okay. So we got one that's...
And that might be just because I didn't wait long enough for it to come around, or something. Alright, so based on what we just saw, I would say it would be worth trying to throw a battery in it. And you've never tried to turn the key to see if it
No, not
whips
at all.
over or whatever, so that'll be a first as well. So
No.
are you said you had a battery on charge, or?
Yes, it's
Okay.
a new battery.
Okay.
It's a never start. So.
Okay. Yeah, that was always the
It's the one that I bought it for the Fiesta actually.
okay. Is it okay to cross contaminate?
They're both Fords, but
Yeah.
one's kind of more of a European flavor, I think.
All right.
Let's see. Put it this way to get the. I actually bought new battery cables for it. Just So I'm wondering, before we do that, should we disconnect the fuel line?
Oh, that's a good idea. That way we won't be pulling bad gas into the...
Yeah, because I'm kind of curious if anything comes out of that itself.
Yeah, I'd rather not find out that we just filled the whole thing with...
Yeah.
We'll use that tank that we had on the Fiesta to...
Okay.
Well, that didn't take much. I just probably have to put a pair of pliers on that. So did you actually, oh, you haven't hooked both terminals up yet?
No,
so.
I didn't.
No, I was going to say, well, we don't have any smoke. Well, it's because nothing's hooked up, right?
Right.
No good spot for this light, really.
You know, ooh, there's actually fuel came out of that.
Wow.
Or something liquid came out
Some
of
kind
it.
of liquid. We'll just stuff it right there for safekeeping.
Okay.
So that was good thinking, because if the mechanical fuel pump... What's going on there? No, the mechanical fuel pump's not hooked up. It comes out of the chassis line into a filter into the electric fuel pump, then up to the carb. So we probably wouldn't have filled it full of old gas or bad gas because we weren't, unless when you turn the key on it energizes the fuel pump. So.
Oh, maybe.
So this red wire goes all the way over to the MSD box, and that comes up to the coil. Let's see. Nope. What is that? I don't know. I think it goes back to the. Actually, goes back to the cab.
I think this is the one that.
Yep. So that's the one that goes through to that toggle switch, right?
Yes.
All right, so we'll make sure that's off, I guess, and because we don't really. Well, it's not going to run anyway because there's no plugs in it.
Right.
So. And you've never tried to turn the key, you said?
Never.
All right,
Never.
so let's just turn it over. And you can keep. So what actually, for the same reason that you, no, for the same reason that we didn't want to pump gas in it, do you want to change the oil now and then we won't be cycling old oil through, or do you think that that oil is good enough?
What would you?
It's not overfill. It's golden in color, and there's absolutely no. There's no indication of water in it. So I would say.
Give it a whirl.
Give it a whirl. Yeah, I know it's old oil, but. The car is jacked up a little higher in the back than it is in the front, so it's going to read high anyway. But it's, you know, it's basically reading like a half a quart over. It's not reading like the crankcase is full of. So I'm okay with cranking it over. To be honest with you, if the oil is in good shape, I'd rather have the engine come up to temperature and then drain the oil and change it.
Right.
If the oil would look any more questionable than it, then I would say, yeah, let's drop it and change it. But in my opinion, there's probably almost no time on that oil.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
The smartest thing to do, though, is to have the plugs out so you're not working the connecting rod bearings or anything with compression on top of them while the motor is dry. So cranking it over with the plugs out is certainly going to, without having a priming tool to prime it initially, that's going to be the best thing we could do. So you can try the key, make sure it's in neutral. Who knows if it has a neutral safety switch, or even if, you said he drove it, so I'm assuming the transmission linkage is hooked up. Alright, this is the first time for all of this, folks, so.
It's in neutral now. Let's see what happens. Got a flashlight.
The electric fuel pump does work.
Okay, I wonder if it's pumping anything out.
Oh yeah.
Should
Oh my
I-
God, shut it off.
Get
Boy, does it look like old nasty gas though.
I was kind of hoping that
Yeah.
maybe I could.
We stick a,
Geez,
we
think
could
I have-
stick a spark plug or a bolt or something in there.
Well, I was thinking I could.
Pump it right into a can.
Yeah, you think, or
Sure.
I don't know. It's
Man, does that smell like it's? It
Reminds
sounds
me of
like
the
it's
old days.
it's pre-ethanol fuel. That's a good thing. But man, it smells
that
like
is-
old paint thinner. I'm glad that we disconnected it from the carb because that
yeah, pump it full of varnish.
right.
So when
That answers your question about whether there's anything in the tank.
yeah, I'm kind of hoping that maybe there's only a gallon or so. That would be great.
Right. The good news is that the fuel pump should be something that you don't have to change.
Yeah.
It does have a filter ahead of it.
Let's
So I don't know
see.
if you want to put it up there or
I
put
got
it
it.
right in there or
Let's see.
put it right down here.
Who's going to be on this? Or do you just want to?
We'll just run the fuel pump until, and then
Okay, see if it.
we'll pump it and then maybe we can just disconnect it from the fuel pump so
Okay.
it's not, as long as it's got fuel in it, I don't think it hurts it too bad, but. It's like yellow, yellow, yellow.
Wow.
Wow. If it is pre-ethanol fuel, that's like excellent.
Oh,
because
yeah?
it shouldn't attack the carburetor or.
When did they? When was? Did
I
that
don't
happen
know.
when unleaded came out, or was that?
No, that was a relatively recent change. I'm not exactly sure. Well, anyway, while that's pumping, I think it's okay. I'll just hold this up. It's just resting on a tranny line, but it's not sitting on the power steering pump. But I
Okay.
think you can whip it over.
It's not on the belt.
No, that is correct.
Oh. You just crank it for.
See if it turns at all, and then I would just crank it till you see oil pressure. That's really good that it's going so smooth.
Sounds good.
Seeing any oil pressure? And let the starter.
That oil pressure shot up to 60.
That's great.
Yeah. Do some more.
Yeah, it won't hurt because you got to pump it all the way up through the lifters into the valve train.
And let's go. And get right over about 55.
Do that again.
Crank her, yeah, right over to 55.
Okay. All right, I'll let the starter relax for a minute. We'll probably do that one more time.
Okay.
And it takes a little while for it to pump all the way up to the.
And the oil light just came back on.
Okay, cool. So you have both an oil light and an oil pressure gauge. To fill the lifters up with oil, you know, it's got to go through the cam. It's got to rotate a few times so all those passages open and close.
That's my biggest fear, you know, is
Right.
that
So
I was so afraid if I tried it on my own, I'd cause some unnecessary wear or seizage.
you know, there's always the added, you know, it's always the method that just throw a battery in it, dump some gas in it, and see if it goes. This is just some cheap insurance to try and figure out, you know, if we're doing any harm in the process. So far, it seems as though what we're doing is gonna make it that we're not creating more work or ruining, you know, a good engine, spoiling a good engine. So the fact that it whipped over that smooth and the starter, you know, sounded good, there certainly shouldn't be any binding or anything like that. All right, why don't you turn the key off? I think what we'll do is we'll disconnect the fuel pump so we don't have to deal with this.
Okay.
And then,
Like I said, we could if we wanted to start it on your boat tank.
I think that's what we'll do, yeah. We'll use the same tank we used on the... We
'Cause-
made that tank specially for first startup, so you know.
That's right. I mean, that's a cool setup. Do you want me to make a quick run down to O'Reilly's and get some plugs?
It wouldn't hurt. There's no old plug sitting in a toolbox anywhere, is there? Probably not, because I don't know. The days of saving old spark plugs kind of went out the window when there were more.
I did a quick look, but I'll do a more thorough investigation and see.
If you want to do that, I can put the plugs in while you're gone and hook the wires back up, and then they'll be ready when you come back. Oh, that's right. You got to get new plugs.
Well,
So
unless you wanted to.
is it? It certainly could misfire as a result of that cracked porcelain.
Let's see.
Or just skip on that cylinder, you know. The rest of them don't look bad. I wouldn't be afraid to... I'd rather put old plugs in it because we got transmission oil in the cylinders and down the carburetor, and it's going to smoke like crazy. Basically, we'd be ruining a good set of plugs.
We got a champion.
Could always take one out of the Fiesta.
Oh, that's true.
I'm sure it's the wrong size. Well, you certainly could go buy a new set of plugs, and we'll put one new one in that hole. Autolite 45s. So yeah, I would probably put all the old plugs in and then
Just
put one new one in the hole.
It's getting close. I'm getting excited.
Yeah, as long as we got fuel and spark now, we should be.
Yeah, I've got. Oh yeah, I've got fuel.
Okay.
So,
Some for the boat tank?
yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So Steve's going to run to the parts store and grab a set of new plugs. We'll put one new one in the hole that broke, just to give it every chance it can to hit all 8. When he comes back, the spark plug wires will go on and the fuel tank will get connected to the carburetor. And then we will bring you folks back on board. Alright, Steve ran to the parts store, came back with a brand new plug, so we put that in the first hole on this side. All the other plug wires and plugs are in, and I have hooked up our remote tank, disconnected the fuel pump, the electric fuel pump, so that's not pumping gas all over the floor. And this is the same tank setup that we built. Kind of watching Derek on Vice Grip Garage. The little remote electric fuel pump, and it just hooks directly to the battery. So we have not turned anything on yet. So Steve, you want to go ahead and just turn the valve on the pump and hook those two connections on the battery.
Okay.
So I don't know if you folks that watched the Fiesta one, we were wondering why the car wouldn't start, and we forgot to turn the safety valve on. So that's the fuel, that's the battery charger. You can probably leave that.
Leave them on?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going to hurt.
All right.
And then, especially with an electric fuel pump. Alright, so that's making the noise. You really want to watch the fuel bowls to make sure that there's no fuel coming out all over the place. So when it fills the bowls and makes fuel pressure, the fuel pump should go a little quieter, and then it should put us in, so that meant, so it's starting to get a little quieter. So I'm
How
gonna,
many gallons do you think this Holly 4-barrel holds?
that's the problem. If it doesn't hold it, it just fills the engine full. So the first thing we're gonna do is make sure that nothing is pouring out of the carburetor. Steve, can you hold that choke open?
Yep.
So there's nothing happening yet, so we might have to tap on that bowl to get some. If the seats are stuck, obviously it's not going to fill the bowl. So I'll hit it right on top of that nut there. Fuel pump sounds different. Oop, I can hear it.
Okay.
So that was the problem.
Okay.
Sometimes you just have to bounce the seat. So hold that open, and we'll see. Ooh, we're getting fuel out the bowl.
Okay, SC spray.
So I'm going to give it a couple of pumps. And I'd say we're ready to turn this thing over. I mean, we could check for spark, but if it fires, we know we got spark. So I would click that switch on.
Okay.
And just be ready to turn it right back off if...
Yeah.
Alright, so this is the first time with fuel and spark. Hopefully spark. We don't know for sure if it's got it. First time Steve has ever turned this over with plugs in it. So this is a new first thing for everybody.
Alright, here we go.
That was too easy. Here comes the transmission oil. How's the oil pressure? Alright, that's worthy of a high five right there. It actually does sound like it has the cam in it.
Yeah, it does. It's
We're gonna crack open the garage door and then we'll run it for a little longer. The choke is definitely not working. It's definitely hitting on all 8. I think we did the right thing by making sure, just the cheap insurance stuff, to think we're not doing any harm. The problem we're having right now is it's just running full rich because the choke won't open. So we'll either, carburetor probably needs some attention, you know, a rebuild kit or something. But that's super cool.
That is, yeah. That's that motor scares me now. That's, I could get in trouble with this thing.
It sounds good, even with just stock manifolds. With the cam in it, makes all the difference in the world.
I'm jealous because, you know, my LS swapped Mazda doesn't even have a cam yet. So, well, it has a cam, but not a high performance one.
Like I said, this then it doesn't have a lick of exhaust past here. There's nothing. So
And it sounds like it.
yes,
That's encouraging.
that is high five worthy.
Yep, well, we
Yes.
gotta get in the camera here. All right, one more high five.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so that's the first start on this thing. Sounds super good. No ticks, no noises, no knocks. Not that you could hear them, but under the hood, my ear right by the valve cover and everything, I'm not hearing any lifter noise or anything. So I'm thinking this engine might be a good one.
Yeah,
Might be a keeper.
it's a runner. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna let the smoke clear, and then we'll probably start it up with the garage doors open, get some heat in it, and then you can drop the oil. And
Yeah, sounds good.
all right, 60 pounds of oil pressure, you said.
Yes, just over actually.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a good sign. It should be that strong when it's cold, cold, cold. I tried not to rev it too much, but trying to clear all that fuel out because the choke was slammed shut.
Yeah.
So maybe got up to like 2,000, 2,200. But we're not gonna send it to the moon just yet. All right, we're gonna
right.
stop here for a minute, and then we'll continue on once we get the doors open and see if we can get that choke so it's not slammed shut.
Alright, let me turn the fuel pump back on. So folks, we did find a massive vacuum leak, and I'm sure the float bowls are filled with yellow gunk from the fuel that sat for at least 10 years. So we're gonna got the vacuum leak fixed, and we're going to try to get it running and spray some Berryman's into the vent while it's running and see if that cleans up whatever's going on in the carburetor. All right, Steve, you want to work the throttle and
Sure.
see if she goes?
All right, ready?
Yep. Let me see what's going on in here. Give that a try.
Okay.
Should be squirting into the carburetor now.
Oh yeah.
All right. You might have to give it a little throttle when you start it because we might have flooded it.
Okay.
It almost sounds like it's still got a vacuum leak.
possible that I know the carburetor needs work. I don't know if we're gonna get it any better than it is.
Yeah.
So you wanna try and get it running, and then at least you can maybe hold your foot on the brake and see if the wheels turn.
Okay, yeah.
So. Let's see what happens. I'll try to work the throttle. You do the rest. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Wanted to do something.
Yeah. I put it in reverse.
All right. Put it back in park, and then we'll fire it up.
I'm just going to check one thing for it.
All right.
Make sure my jack stands ain't touching the wheels. Oh no, they're way off. Okay, yeah, there's nothing touching anything. Okay.
So it's safe.
Oh, of course, yeah, I have my foot on the brake too, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
One more time.
Here we go. We had reverse.
Okay. Is the power steering working? Try that when you're at it too.
Okay.
All right. We'll put it back in park.
Okay. Put it in drive and she died.
All right. It's probably just because the carburetor's working.
Yeah.
Looked like the power steering was working.
Yes, power steering worked really good, yeah.
I don't know what it had in it for fluid, but it looks like it's a little low. But the belt was squealing a little, but
Yeah, she spun right around easy.
yep. All right. Let's try it. See if we can get it running long enough to go into drive
Okay.
again.
We had her spinning.
Nice.
So we had forward, reverse, and the power steering was working.
Yep.
You just got to have the carburetor looked at.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited.
There you go. All right, we're
It
gonna.
does sound good.
It does sound good. I just wish it would idle down so we could really hear what it looks like, but it doesn't want to hear it, you know, as far as wanting to come down to anything below like 1800 RPM. So
I don't know what the temperature is of the engine. I don't think it's terribly hot. It's definitely circulating water.
Good.
But the radiator isn't red hot. The hoses are, I can leave my hand on them, so.
And it's not
It
speeding.
does sound like it has a lot of timing in it. I don't have a timing light with me. But all in all,
Yeah, I
I
think
think you got the next level of confidence to move forward with this
Yeah.
project.
Yeah, we got a good solid base. That's awesome.
Well,
I'm excited.
nice.
We achieved.
Saw the wheel spin.
So the wheels spin.
Can't do a burnout because we just can't get it to behave down low. So we'll have to save that for another time.
Yeah. Another thing to look forward to.
That's right. All right, we're gonna end it off here, and we'll call it a mission accomplished. It
Yeah.
wasn't that difficult. It was more of all the starting up an engine you care about, safety precautions. now you got some heat in it. You could probably change the oil and
Yeah,
go from there.
yeah. And I got a good outlook to finish the car now. So
There you
it's
go. I
good.
mean, everything you did was basically under the assumption that this part was
Right.
something you could work with.
Great. Thank you very much. Job well done.
All right, till next time. Remember, if you're gonna be stupid, be smart about it.